Oh, guys, Deluded Guna, some additional points in regards to the day that I forgot to mention. Firstly, I was impressed with Iwobi. He started off strongly on the flanks. He linked up well with the fullbacks. When he went out to the left, him and Maitland-Niles were having the real luck of joy on the left-hand side in the opening stages, especially. Their right back wasn't being helped by their right winger, and they were just being killed and they were just destroying it. But I was particularly impressed when Iwobi went inside. I've told you guys, I think he could be a centre mid. Right now, he can get games on the left and things like that. But he went inside. You saw him start to dictate play. You saw the weight of passes. You saw the quick interchanges with Lacazette, particularly in the 34th to 40th minute. I counted it was 5 minutes where you got to see it. It was, of course, it's pre-season, but you got to see what I mean. And from a player who kind of needs to give a good performance this season consistently, add goals in game, goals to his performances, he's going a long way. I typically tell you guys he puts in good performances, but at the end of the day, you need to either score or assist. But yeah, not to draw too many conclusions from that. Iwobi, I think he had a good game. I've told you guys about Maitland now. Some of his crossing was a bit inconsistent, but he's getting in them opportunities, putting some good crosses. He handled his tackling well. He showed courage and bravery, and he linked up well. That is the sort of stuff you want to see at Arsenal. Very upset that Maitland wasn't in the matchday squad. I don't know if he's got an injury or something like that. I do believe this year he can get minutes in the Europa League and Carling Cup and make his debut, but to be counted on, like to be properly included, I do think it is a bit too early. Purely because if you watch him, he's yet to even properly establish himself for our under 23s. Yes, he's played games and on the bench for them, but he's not really a regular. Physicality is still somewhat lacking. He can tend to make the wrong decision. Of course, he's a year older than Reiss Nelson, but you get what I mean by that. Nelson at the moment is more likely to make the right decision than him, and he thinks quicker than him. So I do think it's a season too early for Maitland this year. We just need to wait on him physically and stuff. And this year, in a year's time, I know it's a long time away, guys, but we can probably start to critique him more and see him integrated a bit more, and the club could further be along their mantra or whatever they keep telling us proudly of a young player coming from the academy to the first team every 2 years. So yeah, there's that. And what else was I going to say? El Nene, of course, he's not going to be a centre half, but he's given something to think about. He showed his passing very well. He almost gave away a pen in another game. I actually believe that should have been a pen if the forward made more of a scene, they would have got a pen. But what you saw Nene do today, this is what I've told you guys. Xhaka can do it because Xhaka, purely on the basis, Xhaka's a better ball player than El Nene. He's not as mobile, so he can stay back with the back three and things like that. So yeah, that gives us another option. But of course, El Nene was just there purely for fitness purposes. But he put in a good performance. Ozil, when he came on, amazing. You saw us start to press high. Him along with the young players started to press high and wide and force the issue a bit more. You saw an excellent free kick in the 84th minute, clipped the post. You saw a lovely amount of short corners, and our set pieces started to like the chances from set pieces of note started to get better. And you saw us starting to stretch them a bit more. And you saw there's no coincidence. You saw us have more joy on the flanks because Ozil was picking the picking the strings and pulling the strings, whatever you want to call it. I'm still not happy with our amount of crosses. I think we can make a lot more with crosses, especially. I know Lacazette's not the tallest and he probably doesn't have the best of ratios when it comes to scoring from headers, but he's a striker that shows a willingness to score goals. We had Giroud on obvious reasons. I don't need to go into that. I do think we could afford to probably cross the ball a bit more. And I think in a game like this, when it's just fitness and practicing things, we could have afforded to put more crosses in and see what could happen. Because we all know if we go past last season and many seasons after to play Arsenal, we're not going to cross the ball. You cross versus us, you have a chance. I mean, if we could learn how to cross and score a bit more goals from crosses, it just gives us another dimension, and just adds something more to our game, to be fair, because we've got players now, especially when we play three at the back end, the wide men, the fullbacks, wingers, whatever you want to look at them, wing backs, whatever you want to call them, they're essential to our plans. And we've got wingers that like to take people on, that like to I keep calling them wingers, but they're fullbacks, that like to get at people. And we've got strikers now, if Lacazette and Giroud do play together, that show a willingness to score goals. So who knows if we force the issue a bit. I'd like to see us stop trying to score the perfect goal a bit too much. Pre-season, we should be trying to batter teams, demoralize them, and just things of that nature. What else was I gonna say? It's still officially a back four at times with three at the back. Of course, that always happens, but to a degree, I do think some players are unsure of what they're doing because at times it does slip into a four. But of course, like you see with three at the back, like I've told you guys before, if we was to include Lacazette, a midfielder would have to drop to make it four. So there's not much. I can't read too much into that. But like I said, guys, I just have to give you guys my thoughts. Yeah, they're the additional thoughts that I forgot to include. I'm signing out.